Happy Monday and welcome to week 7 of our summer class, Resource Management Leadership 625. As we move into week 7, we're working on our final projects. So you've turned in drafts. Now you're going to get feedback from myself and feedback from a peer, and then you'll have next week will be reflecting on the course and revising those final projects based on the feedback that you've received. So for week 7, we're going to finalize our reading. So we're going to finish up the Polarity Management book and then read another one of those case studies in Section C. Section C is about the difference between participatory management and autocratic management. So, and it revolves around decision making and communication and how we manage and work with our groups. So basically, are we managing where we're giving them, we make all of the decisions and we direct our team, and or are we leading them where we take feedback, we let other people make decisions, we empower our team members to be part of the process. And then the chapter 17 in Project Management for Dummies is just how do we close out a project and finish it up. So then the assignments for this week are the participatory management discussion and your peer review of the Balanced Scorecard project. So I will be sending those via email, randomly assigning one of your classmates, and then you will do a peer review of their document and give them some feedback. So kind of the main things that the readings focus on are in the Polarity Management, the last chapter, other than the Section C reading about participatory management, is the from theory to application. So now that we've read all about polarity management and learned about polarity management, how do we take that into our work? And the chapter first starts out with this reminder of some of the pitfalls of polarity management. So one of the first things is that believing it's the answer to everything. There's no such thing. Actually, one of the reasons to look at various management theories, various leadership theories, various organizational theories, cultural theories, etc., is that there's really no such thing as one answer to every situation or every leadership problem or every organizational situation. In fact, a lot of the time, the best answers are mixes of different theories and techniques. And this is one of the reasons that lifelong learning and continuously exploring different avenues, recognizing that we don't all have the answers all on day one, and we need to go out and find different information. The next pitfall is avoiding the issues. So we say, we don't think that's a solvable thing, so we're not even going to look at it. Or we've been trying to do this and it's not working, so we're just going to scrap it. And rather than scrapping it, maybe it just needs to be reviewed and tweaked and then moved forward with it. And then avoiding decisions. So a couple of weeks ago, I had posted that article about bike shedding. So this is where we get into avoiding decisions or making decisions that don't really matter, focusing too much time on decisions that don't really matter. So it's easy to avoid decision making, especially if we're nervous about how our decisions are going to impact others. Then the book moves on to various action steps of how to get past this and action steps about how to work through the polarity management. So everything that we've read in the book, from identifying the problem, determining what the polarities are, working through those polarities, and moving forward. This isn't a necessary process for every single project that you come onto, or every single thing that you attempt, or every single thing that you run into work, but they are useful things. That brings us into that awareness where I was talking about. Now that you know some things about polarity management, you might see, oh, that's a problem to manage, or those are actually polarities, and those things get addressed differently. So this awareness of the different leadership theories and different management theories and different organizational structure theories that help you be aware and recognize that there are different solutions to different problems, and to help you be able to pull out what some of those solutions are. And then always communication. That's one of the sometimes the hardest thing about the application is, how do we communicate that to others? How do we explain to others about where we're getting this information from, being really transparent and talking them through, this is why we think this is the solution for something. As we get into chapter 17 of the project management about bringing your project to closure, it talks about some of the steps that you should go through when you're closing a project. One is making sure that your objectives and measures are completely and clearly described. It is really difficult to determine whether or not your project is successful if you don't have clearly described measures and objectives. So think back about those SMART goals, making sure that they are specific and measurable and attainable. If you say your goal is a reduction in employee turnover, what reduction in employee turnover? Is a 0.5% reduction? Is a 1% reduction? What is the timeline? So it's hard to say whether you were successful in reducing employee turnover unless you put a specific measurement to it. Oh, we were hoping for a 5% reduction, but we hit 4%, which means that we're moving in the right direction and what we're working on is working, but we're not quite there yet. Or we were hoping for 5% and we hit 6%, so we were successful in moving forward. Preparing a checklist. What are the things that need to get done before it's finished? Planning for a transition. Is this going to, instead of becoming this new project, this new thing that you were trying, now is it being implemented into the actual culture of the organization? So instead of being an individual project, it's just part of your everyday life now in that organization. And so now we're going to transition into, this is not a project that we're specifically working on, but it's an ongoing assignment, just part of our everyday work. And we're going to move on to new things or new projects in order to continue improving what we do on a daily basis. And then reporting and project evaluation. So we need to report how successful was our project, how did we complete it, what were all the measures, how did it work, what were those next steps, what things did we learn from doing this, and what are we going to take into our next project. Then the last couple of pages in chapter 17 run through some questions and steps that you should really think about and contemplate as you're evaluating how the project went, how successful it was, and how you're going to move forward with continuous projects or with this information. So that is week 7 in a nutshell, as we are rounding up all of the information for this class.